Welcome to the Christina podcast, where we explore the intersection of mindset to manifestation and the art of becoming in your space, your style, and your soul. I'm your host, Christina luxury real estate advisor, designer, and guide for the woman you're becoming. Here we go beyond surface level design and traditional success. We talk about transforming your home as a portal, embodying your next level identity, and creating a life that feels as good as it looks. If you're ready to step into your fullest expression with courage, intention, and beauty, you're in the right place. Let's begin. Hello, my love. Welcome back to the podcast. So before we jump right in, I want to take a pause with you. I would like to invite you to take a deep breath with me right now. I'm going to do it with you. Let's inhale and then exhale. Let it go. Pay attention to your body, soften your shoulders, unclench your jaw, and really arrive with me here today. I want to share a message that feels so close to my heart, one that has guided me through some of my most tender and transformative moments. Because I believe, and I know deeply, that the woman you're becoming, she already lives here. She lives inside of you. She lives inside the walls of your home, in the small choices you make every day, and in the quiet whispers of your heart that say to you, it's time. Home exists beyond four walls. When I think of home, or when most people think of home, we often think of bricks and mortar, rooms, furniture, paint, colors. But home is so much more than a physical space. It's an energy, a feeling. I think of it as a mirror. And I'll get into that and explain, because that could sound very abstract, but home as a mirror is a very strong concept. And I want to dive into that with you this week, because I think that will help you to see areas within your life that are worthy and deserving of your attention. And it's communicated through your home. So I remember a time recently when Jerry and I were feeling really disconnected from our home in Manhattan. This was just like 8 months ago. We loved our view and we loved so much about that space. And yet it started to feel we had it started to feel like we had outgrown it. We had purchased a home in the country, and it was kind of like a weekend place. And we didn't really know what that home would become to us. We had an idea that it might become our full-time home. But we didn't really know when, and Jerry was definitely not into the idea of living outside of the city full-time. However, our country home, our weekend home, began calling to us, asking us to be there full-time. And I knew that if I answered that call, it would open a portal to my creativity, a portal that had been waiting for me on the other side of comfort and familiarity. I have a hard time saying that word this morning. In that country home, I felt so supported, so aligned. I felt like myself, and I feel like myself. I shouldn't really make this so past tense. I feel the expansiveness of that space and the breathing room to truly draw out my creativity. But the decision definitely wasn't easy. I had to detach myself from this identity that I built as a Manhattanite. I had been a transplant from the Midwest since 2007, and so much of my story was woven into city life. I mean, I still work in the city, but just the thought of not being in the city and being full-time in the country was an identity that I had to shed. So even though Jerry and I would still be working in the city Monday through Friday, the idea of letting go of that Manhattan home felt like a letting go of a piece of me. But as I've learned again and again, the rewards of following the soul's true calling always outweigh the discomfort of letting go. Like, I felt in my heart that it was the right thing to do. I felt called. I felt a pulling. I felt a longing. And when we honor that, I believe we're living in alignment, and I believe that beautiful things unfold as a result. So since making that choice, which was December of 24, when we sold our place and moved here full time, there was some growing, growing pains with the commute and everything. But those are really minor things. But the positives outweigh any sort of minor growing pain that was involved regarding a commute or just kind of adjusting our lives or spending more time commuting than we did previously. But since making that choice, I started writing a book. Actually, I finished my book. I relaunched this podcast, and I became fully aligned with my YouTube channel. I feel more aligned in my purpose with my YouTube channel than I have ever felt, and more fully whole. So I started building so much more than I ever imagined. And when we decided to live here full time, I had a feeling that good things would unfold for me. I had a feeling that I would be more creative and I would have an energy that I didn't, that kind of waned, and I no longer really possessed that excitement. But I had no idea at what capacity. And all of this was so much more than I could have ever conceived or imagined. Bigger and better things are always coming to you. I don't know how, I don't know when, but I know they're coming, because my mind could not imagine the outcome of this. So all of this because I finally gave into what my heart and soul truly wanted. And that is the power of home as a mirror to who we're becoming. The woman you're becoming. So who is she, the woman you're becoming? Who is this woman? What does she wear when no one is watching? This is great because at home, it's very different from our public world, our public lives, how people see us at work or how people see us on social. What does she wear at home when no one's watching? How does she move through her mornings? And I don't mean this as in a visualization exercise, who is the woman you're becoming? And I want you to visualize who she is and how she moves. I want you to see how you're actually living right now. How do you move through your morning? What kinds of conversations does she have with herself, with their closest friends, with their space? Okay. Then I'd also like you to imagine where those areas you feel called to upgrade, meaning maybe now you're moving through your mornings softer, or maybe you're bolder, or maybe you're a little bit of both. So it's looking at your home as if it's mirroring and reflecting back to you how you're currently living, but then also allowing yourself that space to sort of connect to and realize your greater potential, what you feel called to do, what you feel longing to do. The woman you're becoming, she doesn't ask for permission to expand. She doesn't shrink herself. That's a big one. She doesn't shrink herself to make others feel more comfortable. I think that's really important, that you really let that resonate with you. She doesn't shrink herself to make others more comfortable. A lot of times we get into people-pleasing mode and we don't even realize it. I mean, there's various degrees of people-pleasing. But one of the people-pleasing modes that I feel like we view as harmless, but is actually harmful to us, that has such a big impact, seemingly harmless, but great impact, is when we shrink ourselves. We hide our light because we don't want other people to feel bad around us, or we're afraid of what others might believe about us. So we dim ourselves, we shrink ourselves. But the woman you're becoming doesn't ask for permission to expand. She chooses spaces, clothes, relationships, and rituals that nourish her evolution. Because the tension of staying small, let's be honest about it, that evolution isn't always easy. Getting beyond this playing small or shrinking or minimizing yourself or conforming to other people's comfort zone, right? Because there is comfort in staying small. It's the day you don't feel like shining, so you kind of want to just wear yoga clothes and just be lazy. I get that. You show up to work, you just kind of don't put effort into yourself. I get that. We all have those days, but those are the comfort. That's the comfort in staying small, in clinging to what we know, like an old chair or old clothes or old stories, kind of falling into those default outfits. And I have felt this deeply. One of the most powerful shifts I've made was in my own bedroom. So like bringing this back to home, because I realized that the style we had, the remnants of our country home's old aesthetic, which was basically just anything that we had left over from old apartments between Jerry and I, and our places, like our old places, and then also stuff from the Manhattan condo, that stuff no longer felt like me. I felt like I had outgrown it all, like I had shifted from that woman. I wanted to feel like a beautiful, sophisticated, elegant woman. That's what I wanted to feel like in my bedroom. And I started with the bedroom first because that's where I wake up in the morning and that's where I go to bed at night. So when I wake up, I want to feel her energy. And when I go to bed, I want to feel her energy. I want to connect with that energy. So I had the bed reupholstered. I got new drapes. I painted the ceiling this rich, beautiful mocha brown. I wanted the space to feel like a cocoon, but also like a glamorous sanctuary for the woman I was becoming. So once I created that room, I aligned and really connected to her energy. And I did feel more like the woman I was evolving into, like she was already there. Next, I cleared out my closet. I let go of pieces of clothing that belonged to an older chapter, like an older identity of me. Definitely a version of me that was comfortable playing small, that was comfortable hiding, that was kind of wanted to blend into the background. Then I paused and I gave myself breathing room to ask, who is she really? Before like editing out things in the closet, editing out things in my home. And, I went in and redid this bedroom. I gave myself a pause. I gave myself some breathing room to ask, who is she really? And little by little, I began rebuilding. I chose clothes that made my heart sing, perfume that made me feel alive and aligned. And I started to create an atmosphere within my walls that truly felt like me. So that each day when I step out in the world, I'm stepping out from a place of deep confidence and authenticity. So let's think about this now. Let's start aligning with our space. What if your home could become a co-conspirator in your becoming? What if instead of keeping you anchored in the past, it gently nudged you forward into the future? This doesn't have to mean a full renovation or a gut overhaul. It can start with a single corner, a little area that you clear and restyle to feel like your next level self. I remember I was living in a place that I don't even want to get into the details of that, but I was not happy there. I was not in a great relationship. But I had this single perfume bottle that I placed on a lucite tray on the dresser. And I could see that perfume bottle every morning when I woke up, and at night when I went to bed, I saw that perfume bottle, and it made me feel like I was living in a more glamorous, more feminine, more aligned world, like version of my world. And that helped pull me from that space. It was just that little anchor, visual anchor that I saw. So starting small can be the one thing that kind of positively triggers you every morning to remind you of your authentic self trying to come forward. So it could be letting go of objects that carry old energy. It could be introducing like a little small thing into your life that is like symbolic of that next version of you, that woman you're becoming. It might be introducing something that feels luxurious, free, or light. It might be as simple as lighting a candle in the morning and setting an intention for your day. The point is, your home can hold you. It can shape you and remind you every day, that you are safe to evolve. So I'm going to close with a journal prompt, and I want to leave you with a few gentle questions for today. You might journal on them, or maybe you just want to simply reflect on them and let them drift through your mind throughout your day. But either way, they're worthy of your attention. So let me ask you, what parts of your home feel most aligned with the woman you're becoming? What objects, colors, or spaces are ready to shift so they can support your next chapter? Where are you still playing small? In your home, your style, and your life? Remember, home is a mirror, so take your time with these. There is no rush. There's no turning in your questions. There's no grading. This is simply for your evolving and advancement and becoming the fully realized version of yourself that is already here, within these walls. All right, babe. So before we go, I want to share something exciting. I've completed my new book. It's called The Powerhouse Handbook, Mic Drops, Mindset Shifts, and Manifestos for the Woman You're Becoming. This isn't just a book. It's a companion. It's a mirror and a spark for your journey. It's designed to remind you that you are not waiting to become her. You already are her. This handbook is meant to travel with you, inspire you, and keep you anchored to your deepest truth, even on days when you feel far from it. In my mind, okay, so I created this book for myself, but I also created it for the woman just like me, because I need something to carry with me outside of my phone that I can quickly reference when I'm feeling that need to play small or fear to shine, or maybe something has happened that's triggered me negatively and I need to ground myself back into my power again, like realistically ground myself back into my power. I created this little book that, it's like a 5x8 book that you can keep in your purse. It's red, so you can see it. And in my mind, I visualize women coming up to me with this little red book, and it's like totally beaten up because it's just a paperback right now. In my bigger picture vision, I see like a beautiful leather, like red leather book that women keep. But in my mind, I see these women who bought these early on with me, and they've got these beaten up, like paper bound red books that they've been carrying in their bag for like the last few years. And they've got little notes and little mantras and little quotes to themselves written on it. And they come up to me and they're like, oh my God, this book has held me and stayed with me and guided me. And that's what I envision. And that's, I'm holding on to that vision because this book is to serve. It's not a get-rich scheme. It's to serve. It's to serve women. It's to serve women just like me who have played small and who know there's something greater for them and are moving into that direction or about to move into that direction. They need that support along the way. Stay tuned for more details. It will be available on Amazon very soon. I believe August 4th is my target day. I can't wait for you to hold it in your hands. On that note, babe, remember, the woman you are becoming already lives here. She's waiting for you to invite her fully in. Thank you so much for sharing this sacred space with me today. And if this episode spoke to you, I would love for you to share it with a friend or leave a 5-star review. Please be that girl. And until next time, be gentle with yourself because your next chapter is already unfolding. Mwah.